Hey everybody, welcome to another awesome episode of MD Power Hour with Giles Tiger Thomas and me, Ron Harris. This week we're going to be talking about the controversy swirling around the defeat of Nathan De Asha at the hands of Regan Grimes over in, what country was it? Alicante, Spain. That's actually a city, at the Europa Pro, following Nathan beating him the week before. But before we begin, look what came in the mail yesterday.
Hey,
Ooh,
fantastic. Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So this
Love
is
it.
your October issue of Muscular Development. Cover
Nice.
is Samson Dauda, your Arnold Classic champion. And inside, oh boy,
I haven't
I'm
seen
on,
this. I haven't seen this.
you haven't seen this? Okay, so here's the layout. Samson Dauda is 2023, the year of the Nigerian lion.
Yay. Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Who's that?
hi,
Giles
Giles.
Tiger, Giles Tigger Thomas.
What they call you? Yeah, they call you Tiger. Okay.
Tigger, not Tigger.
Photography Tigger. Tigger was from Winnie the Pooh. Photography
Yeah.
by Jason Breeze. Some great shots in there, and it takes you through his whole history. The definitive article. And Samson was very happy. We're happy when they're happy. Of course, it goes on and on. This is like 10 pages.
Is it 10
Yeah.
pages?
Let me see.
How many?
I believe it is.
That's
Yeah.
my
So
biggest.
Samson posted. He was very pleased, and we love when they're happy.
Mm.
We're here for the athletes, guys. We're not haters. We're huge fans ourselves, or we wouldn't be doing this. So 1, 2. I know it's irrelevant. 3, 4. I like to count. 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, is it? Okay, 8 pages. Good enough. Yeah, that's the
That,
last one.
that, Ron, that makes it my biggest MD feature ever.
Really? Wow. Yeah.
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 And do you know what? Do you know what? I just, like I said before, I wasn't feeling very well that day I wrote that. And do you know what? I actually sat down with a plan in my head of what I was going to do. I was going to transcribe, and I was all these different ideas for different segments. And I sat down, and I tell you what, it's like I went into some weird tiger trance. And honestly, you know, when you just get so immersed in something,
Yeah.
and literally, like, it's almost like I went into like a several-hour trance. And then when I kind of woke up, I was like, it was like I read it back, and I was like, holy shit, I'm really happy with that. It completely it just wrote. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it wrote itself. Because when you have these personal attachments, and you know these people, you can just write. Like I did Flex Lewis, I've done Phil Heath, I've done, and I've all these people I know from the industry. Brandon Curry, no, I don't done Brandon Curry. Kamal, I've done, you know, and it just comes from you, and all these personal stories, and it just makes. I was really happy with it. So I'm really, and I don't think Samson certainly hasn't seen the article yet, so I'm really excited for him to see that as well. But he was messaging me back and forth. He said, Charles, that front cover, he said, is a real. That's a real kind of like it was a really big deal for him, and I really got the genuine appreciation. So it's always nice to have that. Like you said, it's always nice to be to feel that they know that we're there for them, for the athletes.
It's people say, well, the magazines are irrelevant now, and we are the last print magazine in bodybuilding.
Mm-hmm.
But it still is a big deal for these guys to be on the cover of a magazine. I think a lot of them start out, unless maybe they just started training today, a lot of them start out with that image in their head, a goal, a dream of being on the cover of a magazine. It's still a big deal because you can, the phone is one thing, but you can't hold the phone up like a magazine and turn the pages. There's still something very special about that medium of print for
Yeah,
whatever it is.
and you know what? The one video I always seem to see when the guys are on front covers is when usually they're traveling at airports
Oh, yeah.
and they go into the newsagents, and if they're filming on their phone, walking into the newsagents, going up to the newsstand, and then they see themselves. It's like that. I can't obviously. I mean, I had a little picture once on a front cover in a British magazine, and that was an absolute buzz. Do you know what I mean? Because it was funny because I was right next to Ronnie Coleman. I thought that's the closest I'm going to get to Ronnie Coleman in a post now.
If that were me, I would stand by the magazine rack all day and see if anyone said, "Hey, is that you?"
That's
All
me.
right.
Like,
So,
okay, okay, the picture's like an inch tall.
all right, we got to get into this because a week ago today, we were here talking about the results of the Flex Pro show in Milan, Italy, the Flex Pro weekend, where Nathan beat Regan Grimes with a perfect score. I checked the score sheets. Perfect score, meaning there was no question in the judge's mind. I know they always throw out a high and a low, but still, it's very indicative of the opinion of the judges. As we said, it's not always an indication of. Sometimes the shows are a lot closer than the scorecards would indicate, obviously, but
Yes.
it was a resounding victory. Regan's condition was off. He did fix his tan, which made him look much better for the
Yeah.
finals.
Mhm.
Absolutely, but it wasn't enough. So fast forward exactly 1 week later, the Sunday to Sunday, Europa Pro, which you were watching in between your interviews doing for Global Muscle. You and Derek watched the judging live because we were going back and forth on WhatsApp, and I didn't think Nathan looked worse at all. I think he maintained his condition very well. Regan tightened up a little bit for sure, but this time a totally different outcome. This time Regan wins with a perfect score, which is, it's kind of crazy when the physiques. I know he did improve, and guys, let's preface this. Giles and I are both fans of Regan. I think he's got tremendous physique, nothing but love for that young guy. His coach Milos, he's one of our favorite people in the industry. Giles has had him on many, many times. We love Milos. We don't always agree, and that's perfect. Opinions thing, but it was a close show. It could have gone either way. I would not have been. I wasn't upset when Regan won. However, a lot of people were. A lot of people thought, the conspiracy theories began like pumping out immediately. Posted. The biggest one was Nathan already had his Olympia qualification by virtue, sorry, of winning the show in Italy. So if it's close, in people's mind, it's like a cabal where the judges go, all right, guys, listen, he's already got his Olympic qualification. We need Regan in the show. And this is another thing, social media following. He's got 2 million followers, 1.9. He's got 2 million followers on Instagram. He's great for the sport. He's going to sell tickets. He's going to sell pay-per-views. Let's make sure we get him in the Olympia. Let's give him the win. Let's gift it to him. I'm not subscribing to that. I'm just saying this is the tone of many, many posts that we've seen. And another thing that factored in was Nathan's unsportsmanlike reaction to getting second. He just seemed genuinely, as the Brits would say, gobsmacked. He was sitting there like with his hands up in the air. He looking like, what happened? What happened? How did I not win? So where do we begin, Giles? Where do we begin? I'm going to let you begin wherever you want to begin.
Okay, let's start with the conspiracy theories, because if you remember, I think I said it either on Power or Global, or I said it on Instagram. I can't remember where I said it, but I said when I knew that both Regan and Nathan were doing Italy, Spain, and France, I think I said on the forum, I said, I think it's going to go 2-1 to Nathan. Nathan's going to win 2. And I had it in my head that they were going to give Regan the third one, because if you go back to 2021, when Nathan won the NPC European, then he won the Arnold UK, then he went to Prague, and then he got 4th. And to me, I was watching the live stream, I was listening to Fouad Abiad's live commentary, and I was totally in agreement with Fouad. I know Nathan was with Fouad at the time in Hostel and stuff, but I don't think he's a biased person. But to me, Nathan looked like the winner there, and he got 4th. Because I messaged Nathan after the judging, and I said, you've won that, mate. And he says, no, the way they're positioning me, he says, the judges, he says, I've got 4th. And I just went, I says, I'll bet you anything you don't get 4th. And he got 4th. Wow. So anyway, happened. Lightning, can strike twice. So I thought that they were going to give the France to Negan. Negan. Baseball bat. Yeah. Lucille. I thought they were going to give it to Regan. But I honestly... when Nathan, because I was watching the live stream, we did a live stream review, and when Nathan first came, because we didn't see the pre-judging, we saw them when they came out individually, and then we saw the final round because we were interviewing guests for Global. So I only saw like when they came out for the results and the pose down and the final comparisons. I didn't see the actual call-outs. But when Nathan first came out by himself, I could see from what I was seeing on what I was watching on the 2 screens, he wasn't quite as crisp, but he was fuller. Okay. He was fuller, because I know with Nathan, he likes to bring different looks. He likes to try different looks. He's done it many, many times. I've seen he's a master of doing it. And they went for a fuller look. And I thought, I quite like this look. But then I could see in the riddle bicep, the separation of his arms and his shoulders. And then the side angle, when they zoomed up in on his back, you could see, Derek picked up on it. And he said, you can hear our commentary. It's out tomorrow. And he said on Wednesday, and he said, he said, you can see he's not as crispy as he was last week. So he was probably like 5% fuller, but 3% less conditioned. Regan came out and I went, wow. I said, Regan looks really good. He's fixed the tan. He looks nice and full. And yes, you could see he was better, definitely, than last week, which definitely closed the gap. And I said, I can't go back on it. I won't go back on it. I said, oh, it's going to be close. I said, I wouldn't argue if it goes either way. Now, as the show went on, I did have Nathan winning it, but I wasn't completely shell-shocked that Regan won this. So, and thing is, that's my opinion. I thought Nathan should have won it, but I wasn't shocked that Regan did win it. So, but like you said,
you need to defend that position now, because that's what people are going to want. Why did you have Nathan beating him at this show?
I just did. I just thought he had a better physique, a thicker, fuller, more dominant physique. I mean, Regan lacks in the chest and the arms, but he looked fantastic in the back shots. I just think Regan, me, I like condition. I like to see a bit better condition. But then Nathan wasn't like when he did his ab and thigh. If you look at the Italy pictures, look at when he locked his leg out. The striations and the details were absolutely insane. And in Alicante, and I know people will say, oh, it was the lighting, it was this, it was that. But I could see he wasn't quite as sharp. He wasn't. But it was only a couple of percent. But and also, don't forget, each of these shows, they have different head judges. Now, I'm going to say something controversial here.
For
The last 2 years, in shows that aren't the big shows like the Olympia and the Arnold, I'm afraid there's only one judge.
the head judge.
I'm sorry, it's the head judge. The head judge. Why do you think we keep getting... I remember it was the Portugal show. I think it was not last year, the year before. And it was the first time I'd ever seen this 333, 666, 999. And it was like uniform. And I was like, well, I've never seen this before. Because I always look at the score sheets the next day and I try and see how close it was, like you do, Yeah. And this seems to be... I've been at the shows and I'm watching the head judge going, okay. And you can see he's basically nodding, even though he's letting the other judges give their call outs. He is giving the nod to who they want by the way they position them. And it's always the head judge that does that. So for me, very rarely will you, I can't remember the last time I saw, very rarely do you see like the score sheets we used to see several years ago where it's, there's a variety, like Regan would have got a few seconds and Nathan would have got a few first. You don't see that anymore. So it looks like it's more decisive, like a more decisive victory. And that was not a decisive victory by Regan. I'm sorry, but I would have expected, and I would have liked to have seen Regan winning by 1 point if he did win, because it wasn't a clear victory. I'm sorry, because I can't believe that one of those judges or two of those judges didn't see Nathan as first. Because it was such a clear win the week before, I find it hard to believe. So, but that's my opinion. Like I said, it's not the views of MD. It's my own personal opinion. But that's just something. That's an observation as a pundit of the sport, if you like, of how I feel that should have gone. But yeah. So I think. Hang on. One thing I want to say now. Yeah. I've got a feeling that one of them is going to pull out of France. I've got a feeling Regan's going to go home.
Right.
I think he's got a qualification. It's 7 weeks to Olympia. Why would he do France? Why would he stay over in Europe unless he's got something, he's got some... I know he's got manager Matt with him and he's probably okay and he's got everything he needs. But if I was Regan, I'd bugger off back to Vegas and I would get with Milos and I'd really get my ass in condition for the Olympia, because otherwise he's certainly not going to make top 10, maybe not even top 15. But if he got shredded, who knows?
I actually said that in my wrap up of the finals. I said, I strongly suspect one of them, and I particularly pointed to Regan in the discussion. There's no reason for him to keep going. I know unless he's got some contractual commitment. Yeah, and, it's obviously it would be a huge letdown for the French promoter, or I don't know who's promoting it over there. I can't think of it off. They'd be the most upset because they're losing a huge name and a huge draw. But Regan, the fact that the shows are 2 weeks apart makes it more likely in my head. There's no reason, because now if it was 1 week, he might be like, well, I guess I can hang out another week.
20 grand.
2 weeks. That now you're looking at 5 weeks to the Olympia, and there's no reason. But Nathan, on the other hand, like you said, Nathan's here to make some money. He's got 3 or 4 kids. How many kids do you have?
14.
He's got 14 kids. No, come on now, that's Ronnie. But He's in this he's in this as a professional, this is his career. He wants to make some money. He wants to pick up wins. He's already got 10. He was hoping to make it 11. He's got one more chance to make it 11. Why not? So I think Nathan's going to continue, even though he's got the qualification. But go ahead. I mean, that's where I see it. I agree with you. I think we're done. We won't see Regan again till the Olympia.
But if they both do go, Nathan will win it.
Well, I mean, that remains to be seen. We don't know what can happen, but yeah,
it would. I'm telling you. That's Mystic Tiger has foreseen that Nathan will win 2-1. And like I said, they wanted to push the fullness. I think that. I could see that as soon as he came out. I was like, okay, he's gone for a fuller look. He was rounder, but you could see around the pec line, the lower lats. When the camera zoomed in, you could see he wasn't as crisp. So. But the thing is, don't forget, like I said, there's different head judges and stuff at different shows. So, maybe if it'd been the judges from Italy, maybe they would have given it to him, because it looked like it was a pretty clear victory in Italy. But I don't want to subscribe to this. They just want to give Regan a qualification. But then it's because at the end of the day, it should be judged on who's the best on the day. But then again, Regan did look better, and Nathan wasn't as sharp, but he was fuller. So it's apples and oranges.
I want to bring up that old cliche contest or one from the back, which we know is just, there's really no truth to that statement. But in this case, I gave Regan the back shots all day. He's just got such a tremendous back. He's so wide. He's got these lats that drape down and insert right at the hip bone. And Milos just posted a couple hours ago a video. The top was like a split screen photo. The top was just a photo, and the bottom was video of Regan and Nathan rear lat spread, rear double bicep and rear lat spread. Like, you just, when you see that, when he opens up his back, Regan, it's astonishing. He's got a crazy back.
Regan's wider, and he's got nice, detail and everything. He's got those nice hamstrings. He's very complete. But Nathan's a lot thicker and denser. Do you know what I mean? And also, I hate to say that I'm going to get shit for this, but Regan did stand in front a little bit of Nathan. He did. No, he did. I can see. Yeah. I think he's a taller guy. He's a wider guy. So it makes him look so much bigger. Because I've never really picked up on that before. I've never really subscribed to that. I thought, no, judges know what they're looking at. And Nathan, I always think Nathan was too dark. Like in Italy, they didn't move him around. Because Regan was stood in the really good light, which probably made his tan look washed out, which it was, more washed out. And Nathan was kind of like, he was like in this like darker light. Because you remember Blessing was next, was then down, and you couldn't even see him. I was like, I can't make commentary on Blessing because I can't freaking see him, and I could only see half his body for most of the poses he was doing, So I couldn't give my opinion because the lighting was so uneven.
And that's it. It hurts someone who's very dark complected. Like Blessing, obviously, he's very dark skinned. Someone like that is hurt a lot more by being in the shadowy light than someone who might be a lighter skinned.
It didn't switch him around, though. I thought they would move, even when they because they made Nathan and Regan go through the poses twice in Italy, but they didn't move them. I didn't move them, and I thought it's obvious that the lighting is better. It's brighter. So I thought maybe they would have swapped them around just for the sake of variety. If they're putting them through the same poses, the same two guys, I thought they would at least swap them around, but they didn't. So, but Nathan won anyway, that one. But this one, I haven't spoke to Nathan actually. Well, we messaged a little bit on Instagram, but I didn't send him any direct messages on WhatsApp. But I think he'll come a little bit drier for France.
Do you think? I'm not saying this is going to influence the judges moving forward, but what's your opinion on his reaction to taking second? Because you're supposed to be gracious, humble in victory, gracious in defeat. And he was clearly not hiding his emotions. I mean, he wasn't smashing trophies around. He wasn't in a rage or anything, but it was clearly displaying his displeasure at taking second place and showing the shock of it. And, who are we to say? We weren't going through all those emotions in that moment that he was, but I cringed when I saw it because I'm like, that's not good. That's not a good look. It's, it shouldn't really, I know it shouldn't really matter. It's just judge on physiques, but subconsciously, I'm sure a few of the judges were like, this guy's a jerk.
Well, if you notice the week before, Regan was very gracious to Nathan when he won.
Right.
And I saw the messages on his Instagram, and he was like, congratulations, bro. And from Regan to Nathan. And then when Nathan did that, I thought, okay, that's not reciprocal. But Nathan obviously is someone who obviously can't hide his emotions, But we have seen worse from people.
Oh, sure. But
that's still not an excuse. He still should have just smiled, and then gone back to his hotel or whatever. Maybe just said, that's not right, But doing it on stage, it never goes down well. Never goes down well, even if people think that he should have won. Like someone posted that video and said, "What's your thoughts?" And then someone said, "Oh, you've took the sound off because you can hear the crowd booing." Oh. Yeah. So I don't know. I just personally, I try not to be too judgmental on something like that. He didn't kick off. He didn't go crazy. But and also I did see Regan said on a post the next morning, he says, when someone posted Nathan, reaction, Regan went underneath and said, "Oh, Nathan, someone's mad, lol," or something like that. I was like, okay, well, Regan, now you're in the wrong now for doing that. You shouldn't have said that. You should have continued to be gracious and like you were the week before when you didn't win. So it's like, these athletes do go back and forth. And sometimes, because thing is, sometimes maybe you should just fake it. But then again, Nathan's not someone who's known for hiding. He's very, very upfront. I mean, he's like, he reminds me of that, him and Zach Khan, they remind me of that phrase. It says, what was it? They love you for being fake, but they hate you for being real.
Wow, that's a good one.
You know what I mean? That phrase, and it's like, that's the kind of thing that I kind of apply to someone like Nathan and Zach Khan, because there's no filter. There's no bullshit with them. They just literally, I mean, the interview, every time I interview him, I just sit there and I say as little as possible, because he just comes out with so much gold. It's like, because you just want people to be authentic, but then sometimes maybe there is a time when there's a time to be gracious to someone that was gracious to you the week before, and show reciprocation and respect, and just bite your lip. If it's only for a minute, smile, and then just walk off stage, as soon as the pose is done, do your job, and then just come back better for France, and hope that Regan will be there so you can beat him again.
Learned on the live chat during my wrap up a term for people from Liverpool: Scousers. Scousers. Where's that come from? Any idea?
Scouser. It's just what they call Liverpool people. Oh, okay. Like Brummies are from Birmingham, and Cockneys are from London.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I didn't even know what I said. What are you saying, Scousers? And they said no, like trousers. I'm like, okay, Scousers.
So yeah, they're not known for The thing is, I quite like people like that, because you always know where you stand with them. I remember Nathan actually back when I first started Global, and he sent me a message. It was a voice note, and I was upset for weeks over it. I was so upset, and we actually recorded a bit, me and AJ on Global, where I actually played the message to the mic.
Oh no!
And we edited it out afterwards. AJ was like, "No, don't put that in," and I was like, "Effing Nathan, how dare he speak to me like that?" Because it was about he sent me a voice note because I'd said that Hadi would beat Nathan, and then they did Vancouver, and then obviously
he did beat him.
Hadi did beat Nathan. Do you know what I mean? So, but I was really upset, really annoyed. And he was like, "I beat Steve Cooklow, I beat this guy, I beat that guy," because he's full of bravado, and that's just a personality. And and I played it, and then we got the producer then to edit it out, so I chickened out.
No, I think that was the right call.
Yeah, but I was really like, I've got the power, I've got the platform, I'm gonna get you back. How dare you? My ego is so bruised.
Yeah. So another thing that came up, and I want your opinion. Everyone wanted to know. They were asking you. We're at that point. We're 7 weeks away from the Olympia. Where does Nathan place at the Olympia? Where does Regan place at the Olympia? Now I know you're Mystic Tiger, so I wouldn't ask anyone.
I'm going to go into a trance. I'll be honest. I think the top 6 is locked down. I think I pretty much got the top 6 in my head. I think 7th through 10th. I think he can replicate that. I think he could beat Hunter. I think Crizzo, because I've got Crizzo around 7th. I've got him around. I think he could take around 8th. I think he could take around 8th, because in 2016 he was 12th. 2017 that was his best placing. That was 7th. And then he was 8th in 2018. But I think he could get around 8th in Olympia, which is, there's no harm in that. There's no disgrace in that. That's a pretty good, considering he's been away since 2018. That's 5 years he's been away from the Olympia.
2018, wow.
What do you think? And I think Regan, I got Regan. Oh, of course, the Regan fans are going to jump all over me now. I think Regan could, I don't want to use the word scrape, but I think he could squeeze into the top 15. I think he could get around 13th to 15th. That's where I would kind of have, maybe even 12th, maybe, which is not bad, because there's going to be like 25, 30 guys. So, but absolutely. Because thing is, if Nathan gets to the Olympia, I mean, it doesn't matter what happened. It does it really count at some of these shows? That's why maybe he should have been more gracious, because he should have just thought, when all the photos have been taken, he should have shook hands with Regan and said, "I'll get you at the Olympia, you bastard." You know what I mean? That's what I would have done. I mean, that's maybe what he should have done, but it's very easy to say in hindsight, and your emotions are running high. You got your family there watching, and your kids are watching, and they go, "Why did Daddy get second? Why did we beat this guy last week?" Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, and we've been through this before, but I'm glad that there's social media, and it's opened up a whole new group of fans that follow the sport. But as you've said many times, a lot of these fans are fans of an athlete, not necessarily fans of bodybuilding. And a lot of them don't really understand how contests are judged, the different criteria. They see their guy and they think this guy is perfect. He should be, I promise you, there's somebody, if he has like millions of followers, he could place 15th at the Olympia, and the followers would be like, he should have won the Olympia. Like, no.
Okay, I'm gonna really put myself in the line of fire here. Roman fans, Nick Walker fans, Paddy fans, Ramy fans. I mean, they're not bodybuilding. I think 90% of them, genuinely, I will say it now. God, I'm really bad outspoken today. I'm trying to get myself cancelled. I'm going to get Zach Khan up soon. And I said to Zach, Zach, the aim is we've got to try and get cancelled. So really, let's go for it.
Oh, he could do it. He could do it. If anybody could do it.
Yeah. So let's go out with a blaze of glory. But yeah, some of my point is those fans are, I think 90% of them are just the fans of that person, maybe not necessarily bodybuilding. So maybe they don't know really the ins and outs of bodybuilding, how it's judged, what constitutes a winning physique and everything. There's no disrespect to them. And I love the fact that they've got all these followers and fans, but sometimes they don't have the, they don't maybe have the experience or the knowledge, or they just don't know how it works.
Now I want to go to a poll. We have the results of a poll that was posted. Was it posted on YouTube about how many are there too many shows? Is that where we put it? I think it was on YouTube.
I don't think there is.
Well, that was we asked the viewers. So the question was, are there too many shows? Let's have a conversation about it. And the results came in as follows. Yes, there are too many for 26%. No, it's good for the athletes and the promoters, 47%. Meh. MEH, meh, I only watch the Olympia and the Arnold, 11%. Yes, I love it. I'm hardcore bodybuilding all the way, 16%. So landslide victory for no, it's good for the athletes and the promoters, too many shows.
I agree.
And I'm just going to throw my 2 cents. I think it's great that we have all these shows. Yeah, we have a lot of people at the Olympia, and that's not a great thing. I understand that should be the elite. But on the other hand, I applaud these promoters. The European promoters are killing it. They're killing it. They're doing a fantastic job. How many pro shows does Emilio put on? Martinez, like 4 or 5?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of work. They put them on in first-class venues, great pay-per-views. Although they should have had both cameras in use the whole time in Alicante. I don't know why they waited till the finals to break out that second camera, but it gives an opportunity. I'm all for, because we were just talking about all these fans that they've never been to a show. They don't know what's going on. The more shows you have, the more opportunities there are for people to actually get out in person, see these things. And like Bob Chick says, you got to be there. It's such a different experience. And I encourage all of you, if you're ever in the vicinity, if you can get to a pro show, it's a totally different experience seeing things live in person, seeing the athletes there, as opposed to a computer screen or on your phone. It really is. You get a much deeper appreciation for what the judges have to go through trying to figure out first. It's 3-dimensional because you're never going to get 3D on your phone, your tablet, or your PC screen. And then you won't. A lot of you will gain a much deeper understanding and appreciation for how the competitions are actually judged.
Yeah, totally agree. No, totally agree. Well, going back to your original point about the shows, I like the fact there's so many shows. I mean, I think the reason is with things like classic and men's physique is because they don't have to give as much prize money. So it's if there's a promoter that's got an amateur show and wants a couple of pro classes, it's a lot more expensive to put on an open show. But thing is, unfortunately, that is the main draw. But I just, a lot of people don't. I mean, audiences at shows itself, because of live streaming, because of the amateur shows, they're not as big as they were because a lot of people don't want to sit through that many classes. But like you said, but when you do go to a show, like I don't think I've ever had I've never gone to a pro show in my life. I've gone to dozens, hundreds probably, and I've never gone away thinking I really regret going. I've always been like, that was a really good experience. I've traveled all over the world, going to these shows, and I've always had a good experience. They're always, it's good to see them up close and be feel the atmosphere. And even as some of the shows that weren't the best promoted or organized or the most flair, yeah, I would say get your ass to a show, because it's so much, like you said, it's so much different.
I'm going to get myself canceled right now. Here we go.
Come on, Ron, let's do it. Come on, let's do
it. If you ask me what my biggest gripe is, and I know it's not going to change. I'm not asking them to change this. There are too many classes. And I say this selfishly because when you go to these shows, especially, we're on the media side, it's different for us because we can't pick and choose which classes to sit through. That's not true. I can get up and go to the bathroom or something, but if you have 10 divisions, if you have something for everyone, that also means you're going to have a lot of divisions that a great deal of people are not interested in at all. They might be there only for bikini and figure, or only for open and 212, or
Yeah.
only for classic, but they still have to sit through all these other, and they're very long days and nights. Most of these pro shows now, they're 2 days and 2 nights long. It's a
Yeah.
lot to sit through. And, look, I understand. I'm glad, we're not going to turn back time and go back to 1990 when there was only one class. I get that. It's just that's the one thing I would love to see go back to. Although, what are we going to do? Tell all you guys, you're not pros anymore. You're going to have to become bodybuilders or get lost.
And to counteract that,
Mm.
imagine if we had no classic, we'd have no Chris Bumstead. If we
Yeah.
had no 212, we'd have no Flex Lewis.
Mm.
If we had figure, we'd have no Sidney Gillen. Do you know what I mean? And it goes on and on and on. Bikini, we'd have no Ashley Coltwasser, and all these, all these incredible athletes. So unfortunately, you try telling that to the athletes, that like you remember in the 90s, used to get these guys that would turn pro as middleweights or light heavyweights. They would go to the night, they'd be winning in world championships and multi, even Kamal, the most like winningest, 10 Asian Gold Cups, 6 world championships, went to the Night of Champions and didn't place. No, because he was basically, he wasn't big enough. He wasn't being looked at. He wasn't, so then they bring in the 212 and the 202 and the 212, and now this guy now is, and now the Masters, and he's gone on to win that. And, he's had like a second and a third career. So, and unfortunately, yes, for the audience, but then again, just go get some food. You know what I mean? Just don't watch it. Just find out what time the Open's on and the 212s are on, or what you want to watch, or whether it be bikini or figure or wellness. I mean, can you imagine if the wellness hadn't come around? I mean, look how quickly that caught fire. That absolute explosion of athletes. That just I thought it would take a few years to find its feet, but it didn't. First year, it was just boom. Just absolute overnight success, that class. What was it at Pittsburgh? It was a bigger class the first year in Pittsburgh in 2021 than it was, or 2020, than it was for figure or bikini the first year. So, it's and it gives something to people to train for, to focus on.
Absolutely.
And like I said, like we'd have no Chris Bumstead, because I don't think he would be making an impact in the Open now. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I don't know what he would have done. I mean, I don't know what he would have done. I mean, and now he's an international, he's a rock star. He's not just a bloody bodybuilding superstar. The guy's he's just on another level. 28 million followers or something. Ridiculous.
I looked at 18 million. It might be, that was like a month ago. It's probably 20. 18 million followers on Instagram.
Wow.
Yeah. And again, I have to make it clear that I'm being very selfish when I say that. It's me.
Yes, very
selfish. Me personally. Because I'm old and I came up in the sport when there was only men's and women's bodybuilding. The shows were done in like 2 hours. Most of the fans, like myself and you, we're bodybuilders. Our bodies are conditioned to eat every 2 to 3 hours. So when we're throwing off our stupid little eating, for me, if I'm throwing off my stupid little eating schedule, I start getting cranky and anxiety, and it's just me. So purely out of self-interest. So I apologize to all the athletes I may have insulted right there. Go ahead.
My first Olympia I ever went to was in Vegas, was in 2001. How many classes were then?
That was, I believe, fitness was the only additional. Fitness was the first class added.
Fitness, I can't even remember watching the fitness. I can't remember seeing it. I just remember the Open. And that was, and it was only one, apart from that, it was only one men's class. And I had a fantastic time. Ronnie came right up next to me when the pose down, and that was 2001. That was 22 years ago. I was only a young whippersnapper.
Yeah, you were
25. 25.
Your first pro show, you were 16 or 17?
First pro show. Oh, first pro show was the 1992 Grand Prix. I was 16. And that was one of the most, something happened there that was one of my most incredible memories from all of my bodybuilding shows ever in all the last 30 whatever years, 100 years, was because they had like this archway in the middle and they had dry ice. And the day before, it'd been the Helsinki Olympia. Wow. And this was before the days before the internet and stuff like that. So everyone was outside the Royal Centre in Nottingham, and everyone's going, "Who won the Olympia? Who won the Olympia? Oh, I heard it was this guy. I heard it was that guy."
Yeah.
Anyway, so of course the place was completely sold out, and it was pretty much apart from Lee Labrad and Sean Ray, you pretty much had the entire Olympia lineup, because they just Helsinki to wherever, the UK, whatever, in the UK, Birmingham, whatever, where they flew into. And then the very, very last person, they were coming at the center of the archway. I know, like Kevin De Bruyne, Momo Benziza, Porter Cottrell. And they said, and then there was a pause. And then he said, now the new, I'm getting shivers just saying it, the new Mr. Olympia, Dorian Yates. And he came out, and I'll never forget, everyone was just stamping their feet and horns going off. And I mean, literally the place, like 2,500 people. It was just incredible because not many people knew, you know? And Dorian came out, he hit a couple of poses, didn't even smile.
He never smiled. But can you imagine that today? So this was a full 24 hours after the Olympia? Was it the same weekend? Was it literally the day after?
The next day.
But can you guys,
Saturday, this was Sunday.
Can you guys imagine out there? It's I bet they can't process this, that the Olympia contest had been 24 hours before, and very few fans even knew who had won. Yeah. I remember, you know how maybe you did it the same way back in those days. We would call up the gyms, call up your local powerhouse, Gold's World Gym. And I remember, like, I used to go to Gold's and World Gyms. I used to belong to both types of them. And they would keep a list by the phone with the top 10, because all day long they'd be getting calls and they'd be like, okay, it was Dorian Yates, Kevin Leveroni, Momo Bennett. They would rattle it off. I could hear the guy at the front desk over and over and over again, having to recount the results.
Apparently they had it in Temple Gym. They'd have it written on a scrap of paper, and it'd be blue tacked up on the wall, in that grimy, horrible gym. And apparently the phone would just be going all day long. Who won the Olympia? Oh, Doz won, because they call him Doz, Doz won, yeah. Sean Ray was second, Clef Levrone, So, I mean, that was in those days. I mean, I remember there was a phone line that I had to get through Flex magazine, and it was like a per minute thing, and like you'd be on the phone for 5 minutes of ads, which they were charging you for, before you could even get the results. It was crazy. I remember being back in Wales in the pub, a 16th century pub I grew up in, and sat like 16, 17 years old, trying to ring up and try and get the freaking results. Do you know what I mean? Because no one knew. Do you know what I mean? It was sometimes like a week or two before we even knew.
Yeah, we had a phone, because I worked for that ESPN show, American Muscle magazine, and we had a 900 number that we advertised heavily on the show called, I think it was 1-900 Pump Iron. I don't know how much money it cost them to buy that phone number from overhead. Anyway, it was the same thing. It was a per minute thing. And you could say, for contest results, press 1. For this, press 2. And it's exactly how it was. It was I don't know, $99 a minute or something ridiculous. Yeah. So it was, what a different era. I mean, you people today, you have no idea how spoiled you are in terms of access to information and the speed. You're watching contests live. Yeah, that's why I kind of get irked when sometimes they'll be on the live chat, like, where can I watch the stream for free? I've said, you can't watch the stream for free. I mean, how spoiled can you get? Obviously they think they should be able to, but they don't understand, because they're used to watching major sporting events on television for free, but those are being supported by millions of dollars of advertising, Pepsi, soft drink companies, car companies, things like that. Whereas bodybuilding, we're not that big a deal compared to football, baseball, soccer, things like that.
Quickly going back to the Europa Pro, can we quickly give some credit to Tim Buddersheim?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we didn't really go to the results.
I didn't believe, because he said on his Instagram, it was just a warm up, and I'm like, yeah, they always say that, because he got 7th, didn't he? 7th or 8th, 7th. Yeah, Theo was 6th, he was 7th, and he looked fantastic. I mean, I have seen him crisper, but he was so full, and his legs were nice and diced, and what an improvement in a week. And also Theo, who got 4th, who stepped over Liang, Liang was 10th. He really faded. He looked like he'd just been pigging out all week. Do you know what I mean? Because I was hoping that he would get 3rd. Do you know what I mean? This week, but that last week, sorry. But yeah, he really, as soon as he came out, his chest and his abs, you could see, obviously. Because the thing is, these new pros, maybe they're not used to doing multiple shows, one after the other, and traveling. Do you know what I mean? All these more experienced pros like Nathan and Regan and Theo and all these other guys, they've done it. They've done it multiple times. Do you know what I mean? Especially around Europe. So, and maybe Liang went back to China, or maybe came back. I don't know. Maybe stayed in. I don't know. But maybe the English barrier, trying to get food or whatever. I don't know. But because I noticed Regan had Matt Daniels, the manager there. Matt. He's got his support there, so maybe Matt's going out and buying the food while Regan's chilling. Do you know what I mean? Because it's very important to have that. Because I've travelled with my ex, whatever, and trying to get food, and and it's like you are literally just running around 24/7 just to sort of make sure that they've got everything they need, and then the rest of the time you just basically sat in a hotel room for like 3 or 4 days doing absolutely nothing, because you can't do anything. Do you know what I mean? So it's quite, traveling and prepping and doing multiple shows. There's definitely an art to it, and it's something that I think comes with being a pro bodybuilder, and something the new guys always struggle with.
While we're on the topic, let's give a little credit, a little shout out to Ukraine. Me being a little Ukrainian descent myself, Oleg Krivi looked fantastic. He was just so dense, so grainy, shoulders like this. There's no doubt. Even the commentators, it was Amir Amarajic who was one of the commentators.
Yeah, I was
There
like,
was no,
yeah, he's supposed to be on stage.
yeah, wasn't he supposed to compete?
Yeah, and he obviously he'd blown his day. He obviously
Yeah, I
he
saw this.
decided a couple of weeks before and then said, "Oh well, I'll go do the live stream." He's doing the live stream with Ed Connors.
Yeah, but that's why I was so confused. I'm like, Giles said he was going to compete. I'm looking at
Yeah,
this guy looks like he's off season now. His face looks very full. I mean, whatever. But
yeah.
Ola looked fantastic. The runner up in 212, Marco Ruz, very, very impressive.
You guys,
And
OW.
let's talk about Francisco Barrios Vic. Wow,
Yeah,
he's getting better and better every show. Nailed the condition, nailed the color. You can see he's getting more confident as the shows go by.
polished, very polished.
Fourth place, Dobromir Delev. I thought he looked really good. Legs could have been a little drier and tighter, more separated from the front, but I can't not put too many critiques on him. He looked great. And the UK's Dean White.
I've seen him crisper.
Yeah, I've seen him better. And Dean White from the UK rounding out top 5. So it was a very solid 212 class. I think a lot of these it gets overshadowed when you have not only an open show, but this was like the Regan and Nathan show. That was the talking point for 90%.
Round two.
So what do you?
And also in the classic, I got the top 3 bang on right because I wrote on Bodybuilders Without Borders. I said it'll be Wesley first, Madelman second, Jose Mete Berry Bueri, whatever his name is, and German Pasta third will be third. And I got it exactly right. And I'm glad I wrote it because I was thinking it and I thought I'm going to write it somewhere so at least then someone can. And then he said, "You got it bang on, Giles." I was like, "Yeah."
If there was a sports betting, you know how like they have, you can bet money on other sports. You would clean up in bodybuilding because you more often than not you get the placings. I'm okay, but I'm good, but you're great. And when it comes to
when I'm wrong, they really like to comment on that. Do you know what I mean? They like to say, "Oh, you got that." They'll come back to a post from a video from 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks, 2 weeks before, and they go, "Oh, you got that wrong." It's like, look, no, it's physically impossible. There's so many variables. Do you know what I mean? If everyone, I'm basically saying is if everyone turns up on, because like the Olympia, like you never know who's going to move up and move down because sometimes people just don't nail their conditions. Sometimes something goes wrong with the tan, or they're sweating too much, or pretty much we're pretty accurate. We try to be anyway.
One thing, the last thing I want to talk about is Breon Ansley announced last week that he is going to do. He's returning. Well, he never left because he never went to 212. But we did an interview about a month ago, and he was very enthusiastic about going to the 212 Olympia. He was going to ask for a special invitation, and people in the comments, a lot of them were very upset about that. No, he doesn't deserve it. No, he's got to earn it like everybody else. Shut up. It's a special invitation. That's the whole point of a special invitation is you didn't qualify, and they're giving it to you.
I had no issues with it because, like I said, I didn't disagree with Derek Lunsford getting it last year. And if I had, then it would have made me look like a complete hypocrite.
In 2020, Big Ramy got the invite, and he goes and wins the Olympia.
There you go. There you go. He's a 2-time Olympia champion, Breon, as well. So I had no issues with that at all.
My issue with Breon, I love Breon, but my issue is that he gets an extra 7 pounds, but I know he would look even better at say 193, 195. Problem with that is I don't know how that would be, if that would be enough to compare to Sean Clarita. Geez, who else is going in the 212 that's really great this year? It's going to be a great show, and I don't know if his mass would have held up against some of those guys. Like who was last year? 212 was Clarita, Angel Calderon Frias, Kamal's gone. He's master Olympia. Ola Creevy, Ahmad Ashkenani, I don't know, Keon. So
yeah, Ashkenani, I mean, he's looking monstrous. He wouldn't have held his own against it. He would have struggled to make top 10.
So with the extra 7 pounds, we've never seen Breon with at 187, his cutoff, just like Terrence Ruffin, who's competing this weekend in Dubai. So congratulations on your win, Terrence, in Dubai. I mean,
Wesley's doing it apparently as well.
Oh, Wesley Vissers.
Yeah, and I forget who else is. I literally glanced at the sheets this morning, but I saw a couple of good names on there. So Terrence had better bring his best. Yeah, I'm sure he will.
2-time Arnold Classic champion Ruffin, runner-up twice, I believe, at the Olympia. So and he's got that extra room to play with, because that's the only knock I ever had on Terrence was I want to see a little more fullness and size, a little more arm development. What a beautiful physique.
So was Terrence at the limit?
I believe he was, which is only 180.
He's a little bit smaller, isn't he? I mean, he's one of the smaller classic guys, but he's actually I'd probably say he's in my top 3 favorite classic guys.
And you're a posing aficionado, and he's just a master poser. Puts on
Yeah,
a show that you're just spellbound watching. Which,
yeah.
when you're sitting there watching 1,000 athletes, maybe I'm exaggerating, but it was like 300 plus. That helps when you have someone that really captures your attention, because we start fading.
Yeah.
These are long days and nights. Well, that's everything I had to talk about. Any last musings or things that you want to bring up, Giles?
No, I think we pretty much talked about everything, Ron. I'm just going to literally go edit Global now and get that done. I did most of the pre-edits yesterday, so I'm going to get that up. So it was a good episode, really good episode. Really good episode.
So that's already past tense as this is going to air, I believe. So who are we going to go back on this channel and watch MD Global Muscle and
Well,
see?
I had the best, and this is saying something. This was the most high energy interview, and even better than the 2018 Olympia interview at the Meet the Olympians, which was one of my all-time favorites. Like, brilliant. Charles Griffin.
Oh yeah, Charles.
Yeah. Because I mean, normally 3 weeks out, 2 weeks out, you expect them to be really, zombified. Because he said, Charles, can we move it back? He said, I'm dragging my ass through my leg session. He says, I'm moving slow today, so can we put it back? So we did the live stream review down, and then we moved it back a couple of hours. And he was actually munching his food and his face is so drawn in. You gotta see it, man. I thought it was like Nathan Deathface, from the other week, sorry, Diet Face, I can't say that. And who was the other one? And also Alex Cambronero. Really good interview as well. Yeah, Masters Olympia Classic champion.
Yeah.
So
his English has gotten so much better over the years, so much better.
He was. Yeah. He talks very fast.
Yeah, he does.
But it was good. It was great. I mean, that's what you want. You want somebody high energy. You want somebody with plenty to say. Do you know what I mean? It's like Nathan or whatever. You just think, okay, I'm going to hang back and just let you talk, and just because they just give you more and more. It was one of those ones they were giving so much, And then we did a live stream review, and then we did a little bit of hot news as well at the end. So it was a good episode. Good episode.
Go back, guys. All you got to do is click on where it says Muscular Development on the screen there. It takes you to the videos. Go back one day, MD Global Muscle, the best show, the best looking show on MD. I don't know, I can just go on and blow, keep telling you how great it is. It's a great show. And but congratulations on, I read this. I read it like on the computer 2 weeks ago, but what a great feature, the Samson one. I'm very happy we were able to put Samson on the cover.
Yeah.
Talk about somebody who really was worthy and deserving of a cover, Samson Dauda. And especially we're heading toward the Olympia. I think it's going to be a very exciting Olympia for Samson. So yeah, everything fell into place the way it was supposed to.
I tell you what, I'm still sticking. I know we're not doing predictions yet, but I'm still sticking with my top 3 of Hadi, Samson, and Derek. And literally until I see the live stream, I don't know which order. But I
was going to say, did you just say Hadi, Samson, Derek in that order? No, you didn't.
No. I don't know what order because I don't know. But I mean, I was really impressed with Hadi's updates, mind.
He looks. It's tough. I mean, that's what. It's the toughest show in the world. That's why it's the most exciting and the biggest show that we all look forward to, because these are the best bodybuilders on a planet of 8 billion human beings. That's saying a lot. What did that tell you? So anyway, all right. Well, Giles, thank you so much. Another great conversation. We covered a lot of ground today, and we have another show coming up in 2 weeks. We have the France, I don't know what it's not called the France Pro. It's called something else.
Next weekend, 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks from that. And then Legion Sports will be the final chance to qualify for the Mr. Olympia. That's going to be a big show out in Reno, Nevada. So we'll be doing coverage on that one.
I tell you what really shocked me. Have you seen John Jewett?
No, not recently.
Have a look at the video he's just posted, because when they say, guys, most like Thomas Tabasiar, he tried the Open and he didn't place at all. And you expect him to be look different, because obviously maybe they struggle to make 212. You don't really expect them to look that much different when they do Open. You kind of just expect them to see a little bit fuller and not stress about the weight limit, maybe 215, 220. I tell you what, I can't believe because he's doing the Olympia as a 212, because he's qualified as a 212. But he's doing 4 or 5 weeks out Legion from Olympia? 4 weeks, 3 weeks?
Yeah, he's doing that Open like Clarita did.
He looks completely different as an Open.
Wow.
Really shocking. I was like, okay, this is maybe this guy does need to go Open, because if he doesn't kind of crack say top 6 or top 7 at the Olympia or whatever, because he's been 4th before in 2019 to Kamal. I think maybe he looks, because at the end of the day, I want to see the bodybuilders how they look like Lunsford. He looks his best as an Open. You know, that's absolutely, if you compare it to when he won the 212 Olympia, he looks unbelievably, looks like he just ate that Derek Lunsford, you know? Looks completely different, more shocking. And I think John Jewett might have a future as an open, you know, because he looks really symmetrical, really complete. He looks much fuller. He's still detailed. He's not, you know, his aesthetics are still intact. But I was really shocked. I didn't expect to see that. So, yeah. And
Now
also,
I think we're being set up for disappointment because let's say he does the Legion. Let's go crazy and say he wins. You know, like Griffin's going to be tough to beat. There's other guys,
yeah.
but let's just say let's be crazy and say he wins. He's 225 on stage, and then we have to see him a few weeks later sucked down to 212, which would mean pure muscle loss. He would have to lose somewhere in the range of 12 pounds of pure lean muscle tissue. It wouldn't be the same look. He would look flatter, smaller compared to what we just saw. And had we never seen the open version of him, it wouldn't be a letdown. But because we had just seen that. This is crazy hypothetical situation. John, I apologize for playing with your reputation like this, but you know, we're big fans of John. We love John. I think he's a great bodybuilder. That's just my concern.
Okay, then. But what if he say he beats Charles Griffin and everybody else, and he wins the Legion? What do you think he'll do at the Olympia? Do you think you'll stay or go and do the 212? Because he'll be qualified as both then.
Why not do open? Why not?
Yeah.
You know,
and also one final thing. Now I messaged Kamal a few days ago because have you heard about these Libyan floods?
Oh yeah, of course. Awful. It's terrible.
Yeah. The last time I spoke to him, when I had him on Global, he was in Libya visiting his family. Now I don't know how long he was over there for, and I don't know the time difference between that and the floods actually happening because you know the news takes maybe a couple of days to pick up on it. I messaged him on DM and he normally responds, and I said, are you okay and is your family okay? Because thousands of people have died in Libya in that. I mean, it's really bad flooding, really serious. Like literally thousands have died. Right. And I messaged him. He hasn't messaged me back. So I don't know. I was worried about that, and obviously, I mean, obviously that's very worrying. But I wanted to know, and also I wanted to know whether he's going to do the Open at the Olympia or he's not going to do the 212, or whether he's even doing the Olympia. But obviously, my main concern was the floods and to make sure he was okay. I'm assuming he is, and I'll have to check his Instagram. But you know, I was curious also about whether he would be doing the Open at the Olympia. So, because he said, I asked him a few weeks ago when he was in Libya, and he said, well, I'm unsure. I'm going to make a decision soon. I'm still kind of dieting, you know, but I'll make a decision soon. But A, I hope he's okay, and B, I'm interested to see if he's doing the Olympia.
What does your gut say? Olympia or no Olympia for him?
I don't know.
I'd say he's not. I don't think he's doing it.
Yeah. I mean, he's just gone out on a big win there, you know, the Masters Olympia, and he beat, you know, Max Charles and Phil Clayhar and everything. So,
but, exactly. Why go to the Olympia and take? Realistically, I don't think he's going to be in top 10 at the Olympia. It's just the size, the structure. It's a hell of a show. So, Masters Olympia is a great title. Ride it out. Come back, defend that. Do more open shows next year. He's got nothing to prove.
And it's not like he's like Phil Clayhar or Max, like early 40s. He's 52, you know? So that makes it even more impressive, the fact that he won the Masters Olympia. You know?
So if this posts on Thursday, which I believe it will, happy birthday to me. Yay.
It's your birthday.
It will be Thursday. We're doing this on a Tuesday morning. Yeah. 54 years old. Can you believe that?
Wow. You look well for it, mate. You look well for it.
Oh, God, 54. You know what I like to do is go backwards to say, well, 54 years before I was born, what year would that have been? And now we're up to, it would have been 1914.
Wow.
Yeah. World War II hadn't even started yet. World War I hadn't even started yet.
Wasn't that when cars were invented?
Not long. They hadn't been around long. I'll put it that way. Yeah.
Were aeroplanes even invented back then?
Well, back then the whole world was one. We didn't have continents. It was one big continent called Pangea. We had dinosaurs, woolly mammoths. It was crazy. Yeah. What you now call UK was 5,000 feet underwater. But yeah, it was a different world back then. Anyway, that's it, guys. Appreciate you. We always have a good time with this show, and I hope you guys enjoy watching. Stay tuned. Watch all the good content on this channel. MD Global Muscle, Ron Line Reports, Off Bombshells coming back soon. All kinds of cool. What other shows am I missing? Well, there's a lot of other shows. We do like No Way Jose, Levroni Report. Yeah, a lot of good stuff, guys. So click on that. Like these videos if you like them. There's a thumbs up thing you click on. That's how you like a video. Share them. You put share, and you can put it on your social media. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And of course, notifications, you turn those on YouTube and on your phone. You know when we're putting out new content, especially live content. Good to be on there because you can chat live with us when we do that. And I assume I'm hoping you can join us for the Legion coverage because that's a Saturday, not a Sunday.
Isn't France the same day?
No,
I'm sure I was told that France is the same day.
What?
Or the week before? Okay,
no,
honestly,
it's the week before.
John, I never check the calendar because you guys always tell me because I always see on Instagram, social media, on the forum, and everything. You know.
No, so the Legion Sports is Saturday, October 7th, and then there's another pro show in Italy. I don't know, is it the Yamamoto? I don't know what it is. There's another Italy show.
Of course, because Alfred Kiriak is doing Italy and France.
Okay, so
I tell you what, watch out
back.
for him, mind in France. Watch out for him in France.
Well, I've seen the pictures. At P-Tour, P-T-U-O-R, because you guys are never going to spell Chiriac. So go to P-T-U-O-R. Isn't that his Instagram?
Yeah.
Great updates on Alfred Chiriac. This guy is phenomenal. For those of you who aren't familiar, he was a guest last week on MD Global. Talk about someone who's on the cusp of becoming a superstar. Yeah.
Keep an eye on him. I wouldn't be surprised if he got a win in, say, in Italy or something, you know?
Oh, not one bit. Looking at this guy,
yeah.
No, I'd be surprised if he doesn't win the way he looks right now. Honestly, I don't know who's beating that.
He's big, he's hard, he's bigger. You know, his legs are up. He's been ready for about 6 weeks as well. So he's got another 2 or 3 weeks. And Patrick will bring him in skin to life because they've been working together since he was an amateur. He was 88 kilo when he turned amateur, which was like 4 years ago. 2018. Then he was a 212. And apparently after his first show, Patrick said, no, we're going open. And I think he's going to be, I forget how much, he's put on 30 kilos since he was amateur. 30 kilos, 88 to 118 kilo, I think he's going to estimate to be, and he's going to be rock hard. I'm telling you, he's going to be rock hard. I tell you what, he could give Nathan some problems in France as well. So, you know, there's a guy to keep an eye on because he came very close to James Hollinshead last year in Italy.
Is James doing Italy? Is James doing anything this year?
No, I don't think he is. I just saw a video of him bloody squatting like 600 pounds for like down to the floor, you know. So he's working with Milos now. He's working with Milos.
That's right. Yeah. Cool.
So maybe he can imagine if he could pull a Samson on James Hollinshead. I mean, my God, you'd have the Hulk.
He's in good hands. Milos knows what he's doing. So
yeah.
Congratulations, Milos. You're doing a great job with your clients this year, Samson, Regan, and so many others.
But you've got to get Regan and Samson crisp for the Olympia, mind. Otherwise, it's going to be, you know, because we want to see Samson in the condition that we've never seen before. And I think that has to be the plan, because last year it was like they just want to bring him in nice. He said he wanted to bring him nice and full, and he wanted to stand next to Ramy. That happened. Yeah. You know, Samson was 6th, Ramy was 5th, you know, and he got top 6. He wanted top 10. So you know that Samson has a habit of exceeding expectations, you know, because I didn't think he'd win the Arnold this year, but he came in and he stormed it, you know, beating Andrew Jack and Nick Walker. So let's see if Samson can keep that going. I think he will.
All right. Well, that'll wrap it up, guys, for MD Power Hour. We appreciate you guys watching so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Hey, did you like that video? Smash that like button, subscribe to MD, and please comment down below. Thanks for watching.